Welcome back to Tell Me a Story Season 2. Today I chatted with Stefania, tech sales enthusiast, hockey player, and now budding DJ. She talks about what it took to learn a new skill, what it's been like to navigate the music landscape in Toronto, and the joys of finding something new to love, even as you get older. This episode is a lot of fun, a little bit of insight into a different career path, and just we'll leave you with a little bit of motivation to go and do that thing. Listen now. Stefania, welcome to Tell Me a Story. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Please introduce yourself to our listeners.
Hey, I'm Stefania. Thanks for having me on your channel. I know we've been trying to coordinate this for a while, but I'm super excited to be here. I live in Toronto, and yeah, I'm excited to have a chat.
Awesome. Very excited to hear you and your story. So, Stefania, you know the rules of the podcast. You come on, you tell a story. What's your story?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that our conversation about me coming on the channel sparked was just because I guess you can call me a jack of all trades. I work in tech. I've been to beauty school as well. I'm also a certified esthetician. And then I think the last time we saw each other, I was telling you that I went to DJ school, and that's kind of how we ended up here. So it seems like I'm kind of always up to something, but now I officially graduated DJ school in December of this past year. And now I've been DJing and having like a super great time in Toronto and meeting a bunch of people and, dancing through the city really.
Amazing. What is DJ school? What does that look like?
Yeah, so on the East End, shout out to Off Center DJ School, put the plug here, but there's a DJ school, and basically the course that I took was Saturday and Sundays. It was Saturday was DJing and then Sundays was producing. And where you learn on vinyl and you kind of go through this, I want to say I forget how many weeks, but it's about 4 months from September to December. Um DJ school, and you learn on Saturdays how to DJ on vinyl and on Sundays how to produce on Ableton. And yeah, I went through the whole thing and I graduated, and now, getting gigs and going through that. In DJ school, I had the best teacher I could have probably have gotten, and I've made so many good friends throughout that process as well. Um, if anyone ever wants to take the class, his name is Clash. That was my teacher, and yeah, I'm super grateful that he was part of it as well.
And what made you want to do it in the first place?
Yeah, so I guess a year and a half ago, so December of 2023, I had gotten a hip surgery. So obviously I was immobile, just kind of laying low, watching a bunch of YouTube, and we stumbled upon a bunch of YouTube DJ sets. And I just kind of was like, I wonder what it's like to be the curator of the vibe, and wonder what it's like to be on the other side. Cause obviously I've attended a bunch of festivals and, events where you're dancing, you're having such a good time. And then I was just so curious about what it would be like to be the one making people dance. And I saw that there was an intro course at this same DJ school. It was a 3 hour, high level, let's learn everything we need to know about BPM and just beat matching and just very simple stuff. I took that class. I went there in crutches. I sat down and, I was like, let's see what this is about. I had a really good time. And I remember my brain was so tired after that because I hadn't used my brain other than just like working and just doing normal day life. And then to have to beat match, listen, really focus, understand how different keys align together and how different sounds may sound together or different effects, etc. In those 3 hours, I was just so exhausted. And I was like, wow, I feel like I had a workout for my brain. So then,
Do you
yeah.
have a musical background at all?
So as a kid, I did do piano, but I fully forgot it. I couldn't even tell you what a key is now. I went all the way into, competitions. Like that's how much piano I did. And now I can't remember anything. But so no, I would say yes, but I don't remember a thing. So maybe it's
Hmm.
in me subconsciously, but, I do know I always have liked to dance and music, and we grew up with a bunch of music all the time.
So when
So
you were in that class, it just felt like you were learning from scratch, like basic
for sure.
rhythm, and I mean, I don't know what you were doing in there.
Yeah, like, I know how to keep a beat, but I think just understanding bars and, like, when to bring in another track just based on how phrases work. I didn't know anything like that,
Hmm.
right? Um, so yeah, then I kinda healed from my hip surgery, summer went on, and I kept telling my friends, I was like, "I think I'm gonna do the DJ course." And they're like, "Steph, you're not gonna do the DJ course." Like, they kept kinda teasing me, like, you're not gonna do it." And then, there was, like, a week left to register, and then I was like, "Screw it, I'll just do it." And then I did it, and then I'm super glad I did. I have, lifelong friends now out of there. I hang out with the girls all the time, and it's super interesting because in our, trio of friends that we made out of this class, our class was all girls, and then the one lady, she's in her 50s or about to be in her 50s. I don't wanna age her. I have a Gen Z, she's 24, and then there's me who's 32, so the 3 of us are always together, and it's very fascinating to see how the 3 different generations are collaborating and, like, we're learning from each other from different levels of our generations. So it's
Hmm.
really, really cool, and I think we have something super, super special. So
So looking at the course, what skills do you need to be a good DJ?
I think, honestly, people don't realize, but a lot of DJing is the pre-work, so it's finding the tracks, buying the tracks, in the software that we use, it's called Rekordbox, making sure that the beat is on the grid. DJs will know what that means, but, you have to adjust a lot of the songs because sometimes when you download them, they're offbeat, so you have to really listen to all your tracks. Then you have to, make cue points within the tracks to know that while you're DJing, this would be a good time to, I don't know, transition or there's a vocal coming in or let's put an effect at this point, whatever. You really have to spend time on each individual track before you put it in your USB and you attend an event. So for example, obviously I'm still new. I'm sure some DJs do this a lot faster, but for prepping in for a gig for me, it takes me about, I don't know, I wanna say at least 10 to 20 hours of my time,
Wow.
before that gig to just really make sure I know my songs, I know the vibe I'm trying to curate. Obviously, you can't always go based on, like, "I'm gonna play this set, this is what it's gonna be." You have to read the room and see if people are dancing and, if, the dancing slows down a little bit because of this song, and then, "Okay, let's try and bring in something more upbeat and see what their bodies do in that moment." So a lot of it is, uh going based on the fly and just, like, the vibe of the room, vibe of the crowd,
So
but
when
the
you
prep
say
work.
you bring in like a USB, does that mean like you've done all the prep work, you plug it in and you press play? Like what are you doing live to gauge like what the crowd wants or change things up if necessary?
Yeah, so on your USB, you have your songs that you've curated for the night. So let's say I'm playing at a house club. I'm not gonna go in playing techno, right? Like, you're just not gonna do that. So I have a bunch of new music, old music, music that I think is cool, kinda ready to go in my playlist. The way that I do it, and I know every DJ does it differently, I identify which songs are maybe more mellow, which songs are more upbeat, and which songs are, like, closing songs in my USB, so that's all labeled in my USB. And then as you go through the night, you kinda see what's working with the crowd and you adjust accordingly. So in my head, when I practice at home, I'm playing it based on what I'm liking in that moment and like what sounds good to me. But to the crowd, they might not be vibing with that. So I have to, maybe pick a different song or go a different way. And in your USB, you wanna be able to have enough variety so that you can adjust on the fly, and then be mixing, based on what is hitting with the crowd or not. So yeah.
And how do you like read the crowd? Like how
I
do you
mean,
know if what you're doing is working? No one's like applauding you, right?
no, I know, it's interesting. My favorite club so far that I've played at was Biblio. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's like a little speakeasy on, I wanna say Richmond and Duncan. anyways, you could really see. So I was opening, so I started super slow. There was not, a lot of people in there yet. I was just, you know, playing kind of melodic house out, as people came in. And then as people were coming in and I saw some people dancing, I started like, you know, bringing up the BPM and I started changing the vibe of the music more to more upbeat, and you could just visually see people's bodies moving versus
Mm.
at the beginning. So it's just very much reading body language, and seeing how people react to the sound that you're putting out. It's no one's coming up to you and being like, "Yeah, keep playing this kind of stuff." It's more just
Right.
reading the body language, really. If no one's
There
moving,
been
yeah, like if
Yeah,
no one's moving,
exactly.
you're not doing it.
Have there been experiences where you're like, "Oh, this is just not resonating with the crowd right now," and you've had to, like, change gears?
For sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's okay. There's okay to be lulls because obviously you're up there, you're trying to figure out what's working. Um, and then as you see them shift, you kind of ride that wave and you just keep going along that.
It's like
Um,
instant feedback, but also
yeah,
not overt, like, you have to just understand you have to assume, like, if they're moving, they're happy, if they're
exactly.
if they're
Exactly. Yeah. And like it's all about just reading the vibe and seeing how people are reacting to the sound and, no one's straight up gonna come up to you at the deck and be like, "You need to change this,"
Yeah.
obviously.
Do you
Um,
ever wish, like, you were in the crowd as opposed to watching?
um, I love creating a vibe, so I love being up there, so, yes, after I'm done my set, I'll go and listen to the other DJs and sit there and, you know, try and figure out, like, how are they transitioning and learning from them. That's super important as well, and to encourage other DJs while they're up there. So I love doing that after the fact as well, for sure.
And I'm curious, about, like, misconceptions in the music industry for DJs specifically. Anything that you've encountered that you found to be true, not true, anything like that?
Mm, it's a lot more work than I think people realize, which, like, I'm happy to do it. I love, again, being the one making people dance. Um, but I didn't realize how much homework there is involved if you wanna be up there and make it flawless, and, like,
Mhm.
not have mistakes or, like, your transitions are super smooth and you know, um, you have to practice the songs that you put on your USB before, I personally think, just so you know what's coming in the song and, you know, what good spots within the track could be a good place to transition. I think if you're just gonna load your USB and not prep it, there's a lot more room for failure. Um, which don't get me wrong, I've been there. I used to get so excited, I'd find a new song, I'd load it on the USB and not put a cue point or, like, not make sure it was on the grid, etcetera, and I just go play, I'm like and I would just mess it up
Mm.
because I didn't practice it, I didn't prep it, I didn't look at it, I didn't listen to it before, and it's just like with anything, I guess.
Do you think people notice those mistakes the way that you notice them?
No. So, definitely, I think we're our hardest critics, especially so the 3 girls that are part of my class that I keep talking about, like, nobody would notice. I mean, I don't think unless you're a DJ or in the music industry, and if you're actively listening like I do now. Like, before I was a DJ, I didn't actively listen for mistakes or transition. Even when I record my YouTube or I listen back to music that I've, like, recorded on my USB or to put on SoundCloud, I'm like, "Oh, that transition's a little off," but I'll ask anyone to listen to it, and they're like, I don't even know that this is off." Like,
Mhm, mhm.
more just because we're actively listening and just the way that even in DJ school, for example, we would sit so we'd each have our vinyl stations, and, you know, person on the left would drop a song, and then the next person in the circle would be at their station, and they'd have to listen just by ear and beat match to that other person's song, right? And you'd have to adjust the BPM just by ear. So
Mm.
our ear is trained to pick up on the transitions and the beat matching and just to make sure that it's on beat, and we would just do it blindly with vinyl. So,
Hmm.
for us to hear it now when we're doing our own sets, obvious to us just because we spent 4 months every Saturday just doing that exercise, right?
Yeah.
So it's,
What about women in the industry? Like, are there a lot of women DJs? What's it like being a woman in
there's
the
a lot more
field?
now for sure. Um, so my DJ teacher class, so our cohort just by chance was all female, which I don't know if he said that was the first all female one he had. I can't remember. I'd have to ask him again, but I know that he's getting a lot more women in his classes. Um, Again, there's a lot of DJs in Toronto. It's like, how are you gonna make yourself different? I'm still learning that as well. Like, I just created my DJ Instagram, I wanna say in February, and I'm trying to just push out content and get my name known. I'm trying to attend different events, just, you know, do different gigs at different spots. This Saturday, I'm at another bar on the East End called Farside, which I've never played at, and then, I'll play at Biblio. I played at Biblio one time, and, I've been playing at different, like, community events, so it's
Do you
just
get
really
scared, Stefania?
honestly, no, I get asked, like, "Aren't you nervous?" And I thrive under the pressure. Honestly, I feel like I play better when I'm under pressure, if that makes when I'm at home just messing
Really?
around, I feel like I mess it up more because, like, I'm just by myself and I'm just like yeah, exactly, So, yeah, I love it. It's,
Amazing.
you get, like, that initial rush right when you get up there, and then it calms down, and then you're just, like, vibing with everyone and you're dancing, and it's super fun.
Were you always like, what's it called? Like, not afraid of being on stage and stuff like that?
Well, I grew up playing competitive hockey. I don't know if you even knew that, but,
No, I didn't.
yeah, I played highest level for girls, and I mean, we were always on a stage, right, and playing, like,
Yeah.
championship games and whatnot, and then, I played rugby as well. Like, I played all the sports, so I was always on a stage. So I've just been
Mm,
kinda used to the pressure of a game. Uh,
fair.
so I think honestly, I think the pressure's good, and it makes me really perform at my peak, I would say.
And, when you think about, like, your goals as a DJ in, like, 3 years from now, let's say, what would you be doing ideally?
It's a good question because I get asked this question a lot, and there are so many DJs, and it's back to how you're gonna differentiate yourself. I don't know, like, I guess right now I'm seeing where it can go, and I'm having a lot of fun, um, and if I could take this internationally and, maybe play at different festivals around the world and things like that, um, I would love that, but, I mean, I still have a job at the end of the day, and that's like that's priority, so I have to, choose wisely and not let it get in the way of that because, at the end of the day, you have to survive in this city and you need to pay your bills, so yeah, I guess it's like, well, I'll see where the wind takes me with this, but right now I'm having a lot of fun and, I just wanna see, what I can learn and who I can meet and where I could travel to with it as well. Be
It's
great.
amazing, like, I've watched kind of from the side or online at least, just, like, this side of you kinda grow, and you can even see in your videos just, like, your confidence
Mhm.
growing and, like, your understanding of what you're
Yeah.
doing and, like, making the place for yourself, and it's really amazing. I wonder, Stefania, just before we go, is there, like, I don't know, one story you have to tell me about DJing at a particular venue or, something that happened in your experience so far that either like just made you realize this is really what I want to do or, something like that.
Well, it's funny because I started a YouTube channel when I first started DJing, and I remember when I was putting out the first videos, and they're still up, as much as I wanna delete them, they're still up.
No, you
And
can't. It's
I
like
know.
legacy footage now.
It's like my resume and how I've grown, but I watched them back and I'm like, "I thought these sets were amazing," and just watching the December videos to now, you can just see the progression, which is exactly why I haven't deleted them,
Mm,
just to show how much you can learn within 4 or 5 months, and I cringe watching them, but I have to keep them up because it's like, people need to
100%.
see this, the new DJs coming in need to see that I too thought I was sick at the beginning, and now it's like I can't even watch them, you know? So
That's another thing, like learning something new as an adult for me feels very intimidating. Like, now that I'm this age, like I haven't learned to DJ, so I won't,
yeah,
like it's too late. But
I
you
know.
kind of smashed that understanding, just went back to school.
I mean, yeah, like it's interesting. Like you have different plans for your life when you're younger, and then now I'm learning how to DJ, which is fully different than what I thought I'd be doing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe next week I'll learn how to make pottery. I don't know. Like there's always things to do in the city for sure. So especially when you live in a big city, I feel like there's a lot more opportunity to do anything than, if you're kind of, more rural or whatnot, just because I think you have access to things and also everyone's here. I could walk into a bar tonight and give out my card and be like, hey, check out my YouTube. I'd love to DJ here. I can bring this many people and whatnot. And there's just more opportunity to network in that sense, right?
But you need a certain level of self-confidence, which you must have in
Yeah,
yourself
for
to do
sure. You have to
that.
put yourself out there. That's what I've learned about this industry is you can't be, shy to go and reach out to people and just talk to them and network with other DJs. There's been so many other DJs that I've met too that have been so gracious with, just advice and teachings and, having me, play with them and connecting and watching my YouTube and pushing out my content. I do the same and I'll push out their content. Like you have to support each other at the end of the day because you're all trying to achieve the same thing, if not within the same realm. So you're not really competing. You're trying to help each other really is how I look at it.
100%. Yeah, I found that too, like, with my business. I thought other writers would kind of gatekeep their best practices, but, everyone that I've encountered has just been, like, overflowing with advice because I think what you need to do is, like, work from a place of, like, abundance, like, there's enough work for everyone, there's enough stages for everyone to, grow their music career and things like that, and it sounds like the music into the DJing industry, at least in Toronto, is very, like, open to that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's no point in competing. Like I want to help everyone and I've been lucky enough to receive a lot of help as well. So I feel like you have to pass it forward for sure.
Amazing. Well, Stefania, to anyone listening, what would you wanna say? Maybe future DJs or, fans of your music?
I would just say, like, don't be afraid to start something new, especially doesn't matter how old you are. Oh, there's this other lady that I met. She's also in her 40s and she has kids and stuff like that. And she had originally started the course because her son, and don't quote me, I could be a little bit off here. Her son wanted to do the course and then her son didn't like it and she just kept doing it. She loved it. And now she's like super popular and she's a mom and she has her own YouTube and things like that. So it's like it doesn't matter what age you can learn a new skill and you could just end up having, the best time and making the best of friends, which is exactly what happened to us. So yeah, I would say don't be scared to start something new for sure.
And that wraps up another episode of Tell Me a Story Season 2. Thanks for listening. If you like this episode or think you might have a story worth sharing, reach out. I'd love to hear from you.